joining us on this beautiful and exciting day. I'm Christine Russell, the Executive Director of the Northern Kentucky Port Authority and Vice President of Strategy for BNKY Growth Partnership. I want to start by recognizing the elected officials who took the time to celebrate with us this morning. If you're an elected official, please raise your hand. If you happen to be standing next to one of those folks, please thank them for their service to their community, and I want to thank the elected officials on stage with us for their service. I want to officially welcome you to the OneNKY Center. This building is a triumph for our community. It stands as a physical testament of what we can accomplish when determination, creativity, and collaboration drive us forward. I want to thank our philanthropic partners, the Butler Foundation, St. Elizabeth Healthcare, the Carol Ann and Ralph V. Hale Jr. Foundation, the Dries Homes Foundation, the R.C. Durr Foundation, and the Horizon Community Foundation of Northern Kentucky. We would not be here today without their support. I also want to thank our tenants and their boards who collectively said yes to this regional vision of unity and collaboration. Meet NKY, LifeSci KY, the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, the Northern Kentucky Bar Association, Thomas More University, BNKY Growth Partnership, Horizon Community Foundation of Northern Kentucky, OneNKY Alliance, the Catalytic Fund, and Educate NKY. Without their leadership, this project would not have gotten off the ground. A huge thank you to Corporex and the Paul Hemmer Company and the countless tradespeople who work day in and day out to construct this beautiful building. I also want to recognize Karen Finan, President and CEO of OneNKY Alliance, and Jean Schroer, President and CEO of the Catalytic Fund, who together kept the fire burning for this vision of unity and collaboration and laid the foundation of support that allowed this project to move forward. Likewise, a huge thank you to Judge Knockelman and the Kenton County Fiscal Court for the numerous ways they assisted with putting the construction financing in place. Lastly, before I welcome our first speaker, there are three people who truly deserve special recognition. These folks like to fly below the radar, but today we're not going to let them do that. The first is Mark Rowellman. He is my right hand and master of a million details. Without him, bills wouldn't get paid, equipment wouldn't be ordered, and none of us would know where to park or even how to get inside the building. So a big round of applause for Mark Rowellman. The other two, we always see them together, so we think of them as a team. They are Perry Brunner and Michelle Hahn from Corporex. They collectively manage the build-out of every tenant space, and I just want to be honest with you all, we can be a demanding lot. So a huge public thank you to Perry and Michelle. Now let's get the party started by welcoming City of Covington Mayor Ron Washington to the podium.
You guys probably noticed we're twins. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here with so many friends, partners, and leaders. I want to begin by recognizing the many elected leaders whose service has helped create an environment where initiatives like this can succeed. Thank you for your commitment to Northern Kentucky and the public good. I also want to welcome the tenants of the OneNKY Center to your new home here in Covington, to LifeSci Kentucky, KY, the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, BNKY, the Northern Kentucky Bar Association, the OneNKY Alliance, the Catalytic Fund, the Horizon Fund, Meet NKY, Educate NKY, and Thomas More University. Thank you for investing in Covington's future. However, these organizations are far more than tenants. They are the leaders driving new investment, supporting businesses, expanding tourism, cultivating culture, and preparing the next generation of talent. Their presence here is a powerful vote of confidence in our city and in Northern Kentucky's future. Today is a milestone nearly 5 years in the making. What began as a conversation about a missing piece of infrastructure, a state-of-the-art wet lab, has grown into a shared vision for the future of our region's economy. This effort builds on Covington's reputation as a hub for innovation. Our life science companies are developing breakthrough cancer treatments, pioneering diagnostics, and advancing next-generation therapies. This lab provides the space, the tools, and the collaboration needed for those innovations to happen. And it's not happening in San Francisco, not in Boston, not in Raleigh, but right here in downtown Covington. Our city has always had a strong entrepreneur spirit. Startup businesses, creative talent define us. This lab strengthens that foundation. It will anchor jobs, research, and investments for decades to come. And it is just one part of the momentum happening in Covington. Alongside projects like the Covington Central Riverfront and the many, many small businesses choosing our neighborhoods. This is just not about one building. It's about a shared vision for Northern Kentucky, a region bold enough to compete on a national stage, and a community that lifts each other up along the way. Covington has always been defined by its people, and as we grow, we remain committed to the values that make us who we are. So let me leave you with this. Covington will never be too big to listen. No matter how much we grow, our strength will always come from staying connected to the voices, the ideas, and the dreams of our community. Welcome, welcome OneNKY Center to Covington.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It's an exciting time to be in Covington, and we're really happy to be here. Now I want to invite Angie Kane, Field Representative to Governor Andy Beshear in the Department of Local Government, to say a few words on behalf of the governor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Angie Kane, Field Representative for Governor Beshear. I live in Northern Kentucky, so as your neighbor, I know how important today is. I was here with Governor Beshear in August of 2023 when we broke ground on this facility. And in June of last year, we celebrated the final structural pieces being put in place. And now, here we are celebrating the grand opening. The governor was proud to support the $15 million state investment for this lab project in his budget, and we're grateful the General Assembly agreed. Thank you, Senator McDaniel, who is with us today, as well as local leaders, including Mayor Washington and Judge Knuckelman, who all helped make this project possible. With this investment, Kentucky is supporting the many life sciences and biotech companies that already call this region home. We're also welcoming new innovators and startup companies to create even more high-paying jobs and cutting-edge treatments right here in Kentucky. OneNKY is such a fitting name for this new center because when we work as a team, we accomplish great things in Northern Kentucky. When a new company comes here, we all benefit because that means more jobs, a better life, and more opportunity. Over the past 6 years, we have announced over 160 economic development projects, totaling nearly $3.2 billion in investment in the Northern Kentucky Area Development District alone. This investment has created over 9,100 amazing jobs in this area. Governor Beshear is excited to build on this success with more investments in our infrastructure, like the Brent Spence Companion Bridge Corridor project, to investments in our workforce, local infrastructure, and more, while making sure our communities are strong for businesses and families alike. And this new OneNKY Center will be a big part of that success. Thanks to everyone who made this special day possible.
Thank you, Angie. Now I'd like to welcome Senator Chris McDaniel to the podium. As Angie said, Senator McDaniel was instrumental in securing the $15 million grant for the construction of the LifeSci KY laboratory, and we're so pleased he could join us today.
Thanks, Christine, for the kind introduction. And Mr. Butler, Mr. Schaefer, Dr. Goodale, Mayor Washington, Judge Knockelman, thanks for allowing me to participate in the grand opening today. It's an amazing day to stand here and celebrate the opening of the OneNKY Center and, more importantly, the Life Sciences Lab run by LifeSci KY. I'd be remiss if I didn't start by saying, do Paul Hemmer and his guys build a great building or what? Paul, good work. I have to recognize the Covington Life Sciences leader, Dr. Kristen Goodell, the executive director, Ardwayne Clark, Savannah Doliboa, Patrick Hughes, Lee Kroom, and Mayor Washington. And our LifeSci KY partners, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Project MedTech, and Prendio Resources. LifeSci KY has deepened the Commonwealth's relationship with existing companies and partners like Thermo Fisher and brought new strategic relationships to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, such as Project MedTech, Prendio, Elemental Machines, and others that are in the pipeline. LifeSci KY is building long-term, high-value partnerships that both strengthen our local innovation capacity and attract new resources and opportunities to Kentucky. It's truly an honor to stand here and to know I've been privileged to play a very small part in making this day happen. I certainly would have never been afforded that opportunity without the giants that laid the groundwork and then did the hard work to bring this to fruition. I count among those giants the president and CEO of St. Elizabeth Healthcare and co-chair of LifeSci KY, Garen Colvin. The chairman of Bexion Pharmaceuticals and co-chair of LifeSci KY, Chuck Shepard. The chairman and co-founder of CTI Clinical Trial and Consulting Services, Tony Schroeder, and the CEO and co-founder of Gravity Diagnostics, Tony Remington, as well as the executive director of the Institute for Health Innovation and vice president for Health Innovation at Northern Kentucky University, Dr. Valerie Hardcastle. I also would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the early advocacy of former Mayor Joe Meyer and the support from my colleagues in the General Assembly, some of whom are with us here today, Representative Stephanie Dietz, Representative Mike Klein, Representative Kim Banta. If I missed anyone else, I apologize for that. But I can tell you, Northern Kentucky generally and the urban core specifically have not been represented as well in my time in the General Assembly as they have by the three people that are standing here today, and it's an honor to serve with them. But obviously there's great organizational partners, one of whom was named here today is Thomas More University. And as we've seen, even in the past decade, science does not remain without controversy and debate. But controversy and debate are nothing new. They are good. You'll recall from your history classes that Thomas More, who was the namesake for our esteemed university, was executed by Henry VIII in 1532. And at the time of his execution, a 30-year-old Italian by the name of Galileo Galilei was beginning to make a name for himself as a scientist. As one of the first scientists to rigorously apply the scientific method, much of his work was not without controversy. And you'll also recall that that controversy did not resolve until our lifetime, with his conviction for heresy being overturned in the 1990s. Think of some of the great rivalries of science and invention, Edison and Tesla's very public feud over the type of electricity and the political battles that they fought. James Watson and Francis Crick against Linus Pauling and Rosalind Franklin to understand the structure of DNA. The battles between Sabin and Salk and their respective camps relating to their theories about how best to eradicate the scourge of polio. The history of science is the history of debate, of competition, and of free speech. This week has shown us some of the darkest places in humanity. Places where the idea of debate, free expression, and intellectual curiosity are not respected. But those who would behave in such a manner behave contrary to the current of history and contrary to the course of human progress. Today represents a rejection of the view that the world is best without open debate and dialogue. Today represents what can be done when a region comes together with every type of resource to enhance the level of competition on behalf of humanity as a whole. Today represents what can be done when, in a spirit of cooperation, a community comes together to advance the causes of science and the causes of free enterprise. Congratulations to all of you, and let's make history right here in Northern Kentucky. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator. Now I'd like to invite Kenton County Judge Executive Chris Knockelman to say a few words. Chris has been a tireless supporter of this building and a true friend to me as we've gone through this project.
I don't know about you, but after hearing Chris, I'm ready to tackle the world. Let's hear it for Senator McDaniel again. Wow, what a great morning. We're blessed with this wonderful weather, and how great to be with so many wonderful people who love Northern Kentucky. As the old saying goes, you know, some things are worth waiting for, in some cases even 40 years. In many cases of the vision that Bill had some 40 years ago, how awesome it is that he believed in uniting our region under one roof to drive better results for all of Northern Kentucky. Bill's vision was picked up by Karen and Jean, who worked diligently to get each of these organizations that now call the OneNKY Center home, get them on board, get their boards to vote in support of this, and to ensure this project would be financially sound. In fact, the task seemed so big that at one point I was wondering whether or not Karen and Jean were going to add Tank and the airport, the sanitation district, and a few others to come down here, but thankfully they didn't go that far. They were thinking it, maybe a time or two. The list of donors have been acknowledged, and I think we can never really say thank you enough to both those who wrote checks, those who have advocated, those who had gone to Frankfurt, those who had just asked for some support of friends and colleagues across the region. You know that we say thank you, and we don't have to say it all the time, but this is what Northern Kentucky is about. Working together, not being selfish, trusting in each other, giving the benefit of the doubt, having faith in each other is what has made this possible today. Especially I have to call out our county commissioners, Beth Sewell, John Drought, and Joe Nienaber, who really also put their shoulders in to help with this effort. Without their effort, we wouldn't have been able to enhance things to get to where we are. But today, this building represents these wonderful organizations who are doing better work than they've ever done in their history, being together under one roof. It's a symbol of regional cooperation and a new welcome to Northern Kentucky. But I'll be very simple here, to the occupants of the OneNKY Center. Work hard, challenge each other, work together. Let's do great things for Northern Kentucky.
Thank you, Judge. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kristen Godale, the Executive Director of LifeSat KY, to tell us more about the laboratory and their exciting partnership with Thermo Fisher Scientific.
All right, good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to stand here today and to be surrounded by so many leaders who believed in this vision from the very beginning. Governor Andy Beshear, Senator Chris McDaniel, Judge Executive Chris Knockelman, Mayor Joe Meyer, and Mayor Ron Washington, thank you for your partnership and your confidence in what we're building here in Kentucky. I'd like to give a special thank you to members of the Kentucky General Assembly. Your commitment of championing innovation has turned what once was a bold idea, supported by leaders like Bill Butler, Chuck Shepper, Tim Schroeder, and others, into something very real and tangible for our community. This would have been impossible without your support. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm equally grateful to our LifeSci KY Board of Directors, which brings together leaders from St. Elizabeth Healthcare, the City of Covington, Northern Kentucky University, BNKY Growth Partnership, Santa Fe, CTI, and Gravity Diagnostics. Your leadership has shaped our course from the start and continues to drive the progress we're achieving today. Finally, we are deeply appreciative of our partners, including NKY Port Authority, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Fisher Brand, Corporex, Paul Hemmer Company, RCF Group, Madison, BLDG, DBL Law, Horizon Community Foundation, C Forward, the University of Kentucky, Project MedTech, and Prendio. Your commitment of time, expertise, and partnership is helping us develop the foundation for the next generation of life science innovators. LifeSci KY is more than a lab. It's a launch pad for life sciences industries across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. With state investment, philanthropic support, and private partnerships all coming together, we are proving that when Kentucky collaborates, Kentucky delivers. From one shared vision, we're building the momentum to turn possibility into progress and progress into impact right here in Kentucky. We believe the same grit and perseverance that built our communities can now fuel discoveries in life sciences, and that's our vision. A Kentucky where bold ideas become real solutions, where science drives our economy, and where the next generation is inspired to dream even bigger. Our mission is simple but powerful: to accelerate discovery by breaking down barriers so great ideas can take root and thrive. We do this by creating spaces and connections that welcome early-stage companies, uniting industry, academia, and investors, and building pathways for students, researchers, and entrepreneurs to work side by side. Together, we're shaping an innovation community that starts right here in Kentucky and reaches everywhere. And here's what matters most, folks. Investing in innovation is really investing in people. And there's no return more powerful or more lasting than that. This facility gives everyone the tools they need to transform discoveries into impact, and in the process, strengthen our economy, create jobs, and position Kentucky as a national leader in life sciences. So thank you to all that stood beside us, believed in us, and built this with us. Today, we're not just opening a lab, we're igniting the future of Kentucky innovation. Thank you. It is now my privilege to introduce Leon Wazowski, President of the Analytical Services Division of Clinical Research at Thermo Fisher Scientific, our founding sponsor at LifeSci KY. Please join me in welcoming Leon.
Good morning, everybody. I got to say, it's going to be incredibly hard to follow these speakers. I'm a resident of Tampa, Florida, and I'm ready to relocate. So you guys did a great job. So I want to start first by thanking our speakers and our supporters of this project, especially Mayor Washington, Judge Knuckleman, Senator McDaniel, the board, and all the other representatives that have played a part in creating this life sciences incubator here in Covington. As Kristen said, I'm part of Thermo Fisher Scientific. We are the world's leader in serving science. We are a life technology and a service organization with a very simple mission. We enable our customers to make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. And the ability for us to be a sponsor and a founder of this biotech incubator fits that mission incredibly well. When we think about enabling the innovation that Kristen talked about, when you take a tour of the laboratory, part of our company focuses on ensuring that the scientists have the equipment, consumables, all the technology necessary to make these discoveries. But the other part of the company, once those discoveries are made, we're able to provide a set of services that truly helps those innovators be able to bring impactful products to patients that look and to find unmet needs, right, in a complex environment where more and more of these therapies are really focused on supporting individual patients, and we can help them. How we help them? We have been also a very big part of this community. We have close to 1,600 employees in the Northern Kentucky area. We are investing in this area as well. We have a multi-million-dollar project here in Covington, expanding our central lab organization. These are laboratories that help ensure that clinicians have patient data when patients are in clinical trials, and they require that data to be able to dispense medication to them. We are expanding that laboratory right here in Covington. We also have a part of our organization is a manufacturing organization. So we help our customers manufacture pharmaceutical products. And we do that right here. There's about 800 employees that are part of that organization. And we're also expanding our central laboratory business in Highland Heights, Kentucky. Part of that mission and how we execute that mission is also ensuring that we invest in the communities that we're in, because the most important asset that we have to deliver the value that we bring to our customers is our talent. So we spend a lot of time reinvesting in the communities that we're in to support the growth and the development of that talent. And as an example, across the region, our colleagues have spent nearly 700 volunteer hours this year alone in numerous nonprofit organizations in order to support the communities that they live in, okay? We really look forward to being able to continue to grow in the region. We look forward to be able to continue to reinvest and support all the many partners that will start here in this incubator, but then will continue to grow and graduate and require more and more services. And one day we'll be here talking about the medicines, the technologies that the folks that started here are making great impact in life sciences across the world. Finally, I do want to thank everybody for allowing Thermo Fisher to be part of this day, to be part of this investment, and to be part of the future that we'll be covering together in Northern Kentucky as we create this life sciences hub here in the state. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate being part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen and Leon. Now I want to welcome Mr. Bill Butler, Chairman of Corporex Companies, to the podium. As Judge Knockelman said, it was his vision 40 years ago that started us on the journey that culminates in today's celebration.
So at the groundbreaking, I think I was 2 weeks or 3 weeks out of surgery for the back. And this time I'm 2 months out of a bigger one. So I intend to throw the cane away at some point. So one of the disadvantages, of course, of speaking last or toward the end is that all the important things have already been said. So there's really not a lot that I can add, but I first want to, kind of looking out over the group, I wanted to say thanks for being here and for your interest. And my hope would be that after you go through and tour and get a sense of what this is all about, that you can find yourself involved in there somehow within these walls as they extend beyond here to the community. So it's a milestone day in our Northern Kentucky community. I have just a few minutes to share my thoughts, but my heart insists that I use that time to give thanks also and to recognize all the people who pitched in to make OneNKY Center a reality. I'm sort of the chief project manager, on this program. The emotional commitment, the energy delivered in making this center of the future a reality, it was special. It wasn't an everyday thing. So a lot of heart has been put forth by a lot of people to make this happen. They say it takes a village sometimes, and that's the case here. The first vision, as was mentioned, of the multi-association building came out of what was called Northern Kentucky's Future, the first vision statement for Northern Kentucky under John Y. Brown Jr. in 1981. So no one should ever doubt that we in OneNKY do not persist and persevere. And the people who had a hand in this should rightfully be proud of their contributions. First and foremost in my mind, already mentioned, are two power women in our Northern Kentucky Population Center, Jean Schwar and Karen Finan. It was their perseverance in patiently pulling together all the growth agency teams, no small feat, not to take away from the people of the agencies themselves, but they all have boards and lots of opinions. It was quite a task. But their work began nearly 5 years ago. The idea of a life science facility concept actually got wings in a meeting with Tim Schroeder and Governor Beshear. Governor Beshear got so excited he went back and he put $10 million in the budget, and the Appropriations Committee took it out. When it got to the legislature, Senator McDaniel grabbed the ball and led the charge in Frankfort to secure funds for the laboratory. And this allowed the building to make a bigger statement. We actually had the drawings accomplished, and we tore them up, and we put another floor in. And that made it for, of course, a better statement. And but it allowed a lot of cost synergies, and it was a pivotal thing. Senator McDaniel was supported for sure by our other legislators. It was a OneNKY Frankfort event, and I think I did see one more out here, Senator Shelley from that maybe got overlooked because she's kind of sits in the back. But what good are the funds that the legislature delivers or approves if the executive branch, if the governor's office does not follow through and make it happen? So Governor Beshear took a very personal interest in the project. He recognized the impact it could make, and he worked very closely with our team to get the money into our hands, overriding his finance department on a few items I seem to recall. So thank you, Governor Beshear, and I'm so sorry you could not be here to stand up with us today. But then there was still a project gap. And Judge Executive Chris Knuckleman in Kenton County once again came to the forefront, floated the bonds, and basically coordinated the port involvement with BNKY and our project management team to facilitate the financial management of the money. Can't thank Judge Executive Chris Knuckleman enough either. And then there's a guy named Garen Colvin. I didn't see him here. Who bought the land and then leased it to to the Port Authority for a nominal amount in perpetuity. I just want to say that under St. Elizabeth, under Garin, under his leadership has been so much more than a medical provider. They've been a huge community advocate, and they've been instrumental in making most of the big projects that have happened happen. A big shout out, if I can, to all the tenants without singling you out and their leaders for your commitment, because without you, we have nothing. It could not have happened. Chuck Shepard, Tim Schroeder were the front leaders on developing the Life Science Laboratory. And I'd like to thank and welcome, really, Chris Goodell. I've had an opportunity to get to know her a little bit, and she's a force. I think you're a force. I think when you see the Life Science Center up there, you're going to say, wow, that's going to be the word. Then there are the people in the design and construction process at Corporex. You might have thought I forgot about them. The schematics of the building were done in-house at Corporex by Mark Bischoff, architect who's no longer with Corporex except in heart. He wanted to be here today, and I got a last-minute text that his boss wouldn't allow it. So that's the difference. Phoenix Architects. I don't know if you're here. Jason Williams. Jason, back there. And his team, under the leadership of Jason, suffered with us through multiple plans, redesigns, data floor, and multiple changes along the way. I want to move as quickly as I can. Interior design was another component, was supported by multiple firms on the tenants. But for the public areas, Emma Atkinson and Hope Forgas of Embossed Design teamed up with us, and you'll be able to have an opinion when you go through and see and feel the sense of this public area. Hemmer Construction provided a very comprehensive building services. They did it in a timely manner, and they were led by a project manager by the name of Christian Maines. Thank you, Christian. Paul Hemmer himself took a personal interest as part of the community, and he personally oversaw all the work from his executive position. And I would say Paul, too, was emotionally committed. And let me shout out for some of the other people inside of Corporex who were on the front lines. Tom Banna, his wife is here. He's retired from the company, but I'm told he's in a meeting with the company. So, thank you, Tom. Nick Heekin, our Executive Vice President, Operations. Casey Kodeski in the accounting area. Perry Bruno, who has already been recognized, who worked on all the tenant interiors and ably assisted by Michelle. And there's a gentleman named Steve Paterno who heads up our maintenance crews. And when you get down to the very end and you got to get a conference table and you got to get this and everything and get cleaned up, Steve and his crew jumped in. He's an amazing guy. And where was I? And then there's one more, my Chief of Staff, Marcy Wheeler, who's only been with me about 11 months, but she took charge of many of the loose ends and components that had to be finished, including the table and any number of other items, fixtures, light fixtures, the planters on the terraces, all kinds of things. So thank you very much, Marcy. And thank you, everybody at Corporex who had a part, or in one way or another, we all have a part. So I hope you feel good about this contribution. It'll be here for 100 years. And then Christine Russell needs to be singled out by me. She has been an internal force at the port. She took charge of coordinating the owner and tenant components. She makes it happen. And finally, there was a name that came to me, and I don't know if I've seen him here today, at the last minute as I was gathering my notes, and that's Bob Heil. Where are you? It was Bob's idea to name the building OneNKY Center. So the term, the phrase OneNKY originated from Bob Heil, and so you're a big part of it, Bob, so thank you very much. So let me see. Finally, I would like to leave you with one thought against the background of our disrupted country. What happened here in our community to cause the OneNKY Center is what community is all about. People from every political philosophy, multiple agencies, officials, citizens, corporations, we all came together as one for the good of the whole. I think this is the day we should rename ourselves officially. No longer just Northern Kentucky, a reference to a place on a map, but OneNKY, a reference to the people and to the community, not just a place. That's how we should be known from this time forward. Today is a milestone. Let's give ourselves a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Mr. Butler. We're so proud to have played a part in bringing your vision to life. Thank you again to the elected officials here with us today and to all of our speakers. We're going to cut this ribbon in just a minute, but I want to just share some logistics before we do that. So first of all, if you are a tenant, this is your cue that you might want to send a few people back to your space to get ready to welcome our guests. Second, if you are part of the photographs, this would be elected officials and boards of any of the tenants. Please stay here after the ribbon cutting. There will be somebody calling names, so we'll come up and take pictures. And then finally, after the ribbon is cut, we're going to ask everyone to enter the building through the door on your right, in the back there. That'll take you through the Hale Foundation conference room and into the St. Elizabeth Unity Lounge. And from there, you can tour the building and visit it with tenants using the elevators or the stairs to move from floor to floor. So with that, I'm going to ask the speakers to step down and come in front of the building so we can cut the ribbon. All right, here we go.